Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
We hope everybody is doing well. Please do check in daily. Still, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, then check in daily. Either way, we do want to thank you guys for being part of this family, and thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon while we're thanking. Because without that, we would not be able to do these videos.
Indeed. And please, if you feel so inclined, if you're looking for even more higher vibe stuff, go on over and sub to Heart's Om, our other channel. That's where we take everything to a much higher degree. If you're on a spiritual journey, this is a really good channel to be a part of, because it actually helps you raise your vibes.
Absolutely. As you're looking at Heart's Home, where we have 774 subscribers and hoping to get over 1,000 by the end of the weekend, and I think we can do it. You know, I wanted to share with you, we're going to touch on some earth changes here and a little hidden history. But first, this was something we've mentioned a few times, and I just wanted to share with you guys. What do you guys think that is? Is it just a rock formation? Do you think that's just a rock formation? You know, I'll share with you the story of this. When Cindy and I saw this out in the desert, we were just roaming. And this is in Nevada. This is not, again, far from Area 51. And we were walking with Zeke and Sassy. And, we just saw this in the distance. And I was like, whoa, we got to go check this up close up. And we're just walking and captivated by it. We're just staring at it. And we almost killed ourselves. Well, I was really close because I didn't notice there was a massive hole in the ground that was probably a mine shaft or something that dropped hundreds of feet. The only thing that made me notice that, because I was just staring at this so intently, was when I stepped up to the very edge of it. All these birds came flying up out of the mine shaft, and then I looked down and realized I was like one more step away from dropping hundreds of feet into darkness. And the interesting part too was Zeke was afraid of it. You know, Zeke definitely had a weird sense. This is a big thing too, just to share with you guys. This top part right here is probably like 8 feet. You think? Yeah, 8, 9 feet? I mean, you could climb up into it. Put it this way, I could go through these. I couldn't walk through these. Zeke could walk through them. Rama could walk through them. But if I got on hands and knees, I would pass through there easily. I would say that these circular holes, I mean, to me, the temptation is just to call them eye sockets, because that's what they feel like. They feel like eye sockets. And when you look at this, look at these 3 circular holes right here. And this feels like these were breathing passages having to do with nostrils or something. Anyway, 2 eye sockets. We really got the distinct impression this was some sort of skull.
Mm-hmm. And it was mesmerizing too. We just didn't realize it until after the fact. It was so captivating. It's like we just went somewhere. So we know these entities had some really amazing powers. And just because you leave this dimension doesn't mean that those energies don't stay here as well. This was something that had some amazing mind control, had amazing abilities. Something not from this realm that we live in, not from this 3D, but so long ago. And it just, of course, some people will just, shrug it off and say, oh, it's nothing. But I can tell you, just look at it, feel it. It was magnificent.
Yeah, the Legends of Dragons and things like that, it's very much based on fact and reality. And, this, again, very close to Area 51. We also, in this general area, saw something else that kind of felt like a amazingly long spine. I would say that was, 70, 80 feet long. And we do have photos to go through. We've gotten so many videos and photos. Unfortunately, my my old phone died, and I did change my number for security purposes, but we do have quite a bit that's still connected with Cindy's, and this was something we were able to dig up. So checking out what is happening over, and do share what you feel about that picture. I'm dying to hear. We're down to 20 quakes in this area, so it seems like things are dissipating. 4.1 over here, very close to Jerusalem. And like I said to Cindy, I said, boy, all you got to do is say, Jerusalem, earthquake in Jerusalem. Does this mean Jesus is coming back any day now? And yeah, if you were not ostracized, you'd probably get 1 billion views, because again, it's just the way things are in this world. And at the same time, there's always these realities interspersed with all the BS that they give us and all the distortion. So here we see things are settling down temporarily, because again, this does feel temporarily. And 235 quakes all over. That's not really a lot, especially after we've had a massive one there. And we were talking about the Buffalo, New York one, which got a lot of notoriety. So as we see here, right now, the official death toll is in 5 digits, 11,200. You would expect that to rise significantly higher, unfortunately. 49,133 injured, 4,000 plus buildings collapsed. 4,000 plus buildings collapsed. The world's deadliest quake in Turkey in over a decade. And there's been many rescues. There's been many miracles. Thank you guys for, again, joining us over on Heart's Home as we were sending prayers and mantras and healing energy for the earthquake victims. And again, everybody's intention does count. And it just enables beings on the other side to go ahead and act and to trigger things. Again, it could be that people are searching in the rubble and all of a sudden they get this thought that comes out of nowhere. I shouldn't be here. I should be on the back side of the building. I need to go to the back side of the building right now. They don't know where that came from. They go on the back side of the building. They hear little voices, little whispers. They go search and yes, there is somebody under there. And so, if they waited a little longer, they might not have survived. This is how it works. The beings on the other densities will get through to the individuals, will give them a clue, a hint. It's like it could be a thought that just arises in the mind, but it isn't your thought. But yet, this type of thing happens time and time again.
Right. We're definitely tapping into different energy fields. And the more we evolve, the more we're able to tap into those fields and get information from those who are wanting to guide us and to help us. We do have to be able to open our perception up to it. Absolutely.
Turkish stock market halted to prevent further crash as the quake deaths over 11,000. And, we knew this was going to be in the 5 to 6 digit figures. Again, when we got the numbers on Katrina, when we got the numbers on Harvey, when we got the numbers for the one that hit, I think it was Maria that hit Puerto Rico back in 2017. When Maria hit Puerto Rico, you're given one set of numbers, like, oh, well, we think 100 people are lost. And then a year later, all of a sudden, they say it was 2,000 or 3,000. This is the way these things work, too. They clearly don't give us the accurate figures. When you have 4,000 buildings coming down, it's catastrophic. It is absolutely catastrophic. And so, again, I want to thank everybody for your prayers. Lots of talk about these lights, the lights that were going on. And some people are even blaming UFOs on this. And then other people are blaming HARR, that instrument that's not played by angels. There is a phenomenon, as this person's alluding to, called earthquake lights. Listen how he says this. Video from Turkey shows the severity of the earthquake. Lights in the sky are known as earthquake lights. Oh, okay. They got a term, earthquake lights. Yeah, we all know that. some people create conspiracy theories, but these lights are normal. All right, they're normal and have been recorded for over 1,000 years. Okay, but there's no consensus as to why they happen. Do you understand that what, Ridvan Adamir, do you understand what you just said? Because you said they're known as earthquake lights, so you're naming something. Okay, technically there's a name. Earthquake lights. Well, that's pretty simple. There was an earthquake, there were strange lights. Okay, well, it's got to be a conspiracy theory if that they're, anything other than a natural phenomenon. But then you say at the end, nobody knows what they really are. So how do you know that they're not what the people are alluding to, that they're not some sort of technology? This is, again, sometimes people say things and they really don't understand what they mean. They just say it. Do you guys follow what I'm trying to get across?
Well, it's so important for people. They need to put things into their own understanding. It feels safe. It's like, this is what I know, so this is what I'm going to stick with. And this is the information that makes me feel safe because this person said it. And because that person said it, they're really brilliant. They have all of these letters behind their name and their school and their information. And I got this information from them, therefore it's right and it's correct and I can stand by that. And that's fine. That's if you feel safe. But once you start looking into things a little bit deeper in the world that we live in, things do start to unravel at a certain point when everything that you were told suddenly no longer makes sense. And it's a journey, it's a journey. It's a place you got to travel to and you need to get there. And finally, you reach enough of these conclusions where this just isn't right. It's just not right. And in your soul, you might not be able to form it and put it in a scientific box that they've given us, but in your soul, there is something not right about the indoctrination system that we live in.
Yeah. So, we get these terms. Like everybody, I remember, 2017-ish, we were seeing a lot of things like this all over the place. And we obviously were calling attention to it. People all over the world were calling attention to it and saying, this is strange. Look at this, guys. It looks like we got 3 suns. And then you get, well, no, those are sun dogs. That's just a natural phenomenon. Well, shoot, I'm 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. I don't remember seeing this before. Yeah, no, that's a natural phenomenon. Hey guys, look at this. This is really weird. Check it out. Oh, those are red sprites. Yeah, that's a natural phenomenon. Really? Again, I'm 60, 70, 80 years old. I don't remember ever seeing these before. Oh no, red sprites. Look it up. It's right there. Yeah, red sprites. Yeah. When did they start seeing these? Well, I don't know. I guess they've always seen them, Well, what's fascinating too when you go back in time. Sorry, sweetie. She wants to get a point in. Yeah. What's fascinating is when we look to the plagues of Justinian, which, caused the deaths of a huge proportion of the population. These were cited before the plagues came. Now, these type of phenomenon in the sky too. Well, some will say, maybe it's related to the noxious vapors coming off of the volcanoes and volcanic activity. Maybe it's obviously it's a natural weather change phenomenon. Yet I see these planes up there every single day, more and more, and lately thick as molasses blocking the sunlight, from our view and from hitting our skin and triggering DNA changes. Again, just because something has a definition in Wikipedia doesn't mean it's natural. And again, history is always being revised and rewritten. And I'll hand the mic over for Cindy's thoughts.
Well, I just got to tell you, the other favorite one of these is something they have termed ball lightning, where this being just floats across wherever you're at, and it's very visible. It's a ball of plasma. It goes right in front of you, and they have to give that a scientific name so people don't realize, yes, this is an entity that is showing itself to you, probably part of your probably part of your star family actually showing up in front of you. They don't tell you these things. They just come up. You see how they come up with scientific terms to keep people from understanding? We are in such a place where there is so much life. It's life layered on top of life. And sometimes we are blessed to be able to see our star family in front of us. It's just ball lightning.
Yeah, interesting facts about ball lightning. Again, you got to realize the power structure that is covering up the reality that's around us. They've been in power a long time. And again, they have thousands of years to practice this, thousands of years to cover up all these things. Again, thousands of years to say something is something that it's not, and to convince us and put it in our Wikipedias and give us our official explanations from our official sources. Well, when you listen to official sources, how good has that worked out for humanity, guys? Come on. Obviously, when you look at ball lightning again, you can see this. Now, we are electromagnetic energy, so this is what we are. This is an intensification of the life force. When we see lightning, it's an intensification of the life force, but it is the life force.
And can I just tell you, so many times when we are out walking through the forest, and I decide to put myself inside of another being and see what we actually look like, well, lo and behold, we look like ball lightning too.
Yes. And again, Cindy is, she is what we all will be. Just, in decades down the line, she's an amazing channel. There are many other amazing channels. It looks like somebody they overlaid Baphomet there. Now, this is more what you find is the happy faces and the silly faces and the normal faces. So again, when we look at spirit orbs, these are people. These are people. These are just people and beings. When you're out of your body, when you're out of your body, as you look at what happens when somebody had too much at a wedding, they're laughing with us. They're laughing with, this could be Aunt Joan that died 10 years ago, and she's like, oh gosh, that girl, she still can't handle her wine. When we're out of the body, the first tendency is to still think of ourselves as being in a body. So this is when you get your classic ghosts. And many of the ghost situations, the hauntings, are imprints of traumatic events. We've had this too. When we first moved to New Mexico, there was this lady that would come into the kitchen. Now, really, it was one room. The cabin was really one room, but it was kind of segregated off. But we could hear her in the kitchen. And I even audibly heard a hello, hello. And I said to Cindy, did you hear that? And she was like, there's a lady in the kitchen, and she's very confused because she doesn't even realize that she's dead at this point. She doesn't realize that she's dead. You will see beings in the graveyards, especially right after, immediately after death. It's very, very common to see them in graveyards. And so, as a kid, I used to go meditate in graveyards. Yes, I was, an unusual kid. This used to be one of my favorite places of peace. When I first got my car and I was a 16-year-old kid, what would I do? I'd go drive to this graveyard that was like 400 plus years old, and I would go and meditate in there. And I could feel them around me. It never scared me. These are just people. These are all just people. And again, we're out of the body more than we are in a body. And we are ultimately just consciousness. This is what we are. We have these temporary experiences when we come into the physical body. It's just a temporary experience. This is not our normal state of being. This is our temporary state of being. So again, when you see, ball lightning, or you see the red sprites, everything is consciousness. We have to recognize that everything is consciousness out there.
Yes, say hello.
Absolutely. Okay, so that was a little tangent, but getting back, so people had posted this UFO cloud spotted over Turkey. just before the earthquake, and you see the word they're using. Now I think what's happening is people are suspicious. Those that are becoming awake, you're going to be suspicious about everything now. And this is going to be the rest of the way out.
Mm-hmm. And there does come a certain trauma with that when you start to realize and wake up and know that everything that you've been taught really at some level is only to control you. But yes, I mean, these beings have technology that's not even really fathomable to us. They understand the earth and her and what she does and how she reacts in such a pinpointed way that yes, they can send things and information to the outskirts and around the area and have that come in and affect the area where all of these buildings fell and these people were hurt. And it's just so wrong. So wrong.
Absolutely. So interesting stuff, to say the least. And we have thousands of buildings in Auckland unsafe for living after the worst rains in 170 years. And the northern island looks like it's going to get drenched about a week down the road, or a little bit less than a week down the road as well. 170 years. So now you're seeing the big records fall. And many people think that the Tartarian nightmare, if we want to use that term, happens maybe about every 200 years or so. You know, our population numbers don't work out when you look at things the way they tell us. No, absolutely not. You know, there's much more to this world than we know, and this control system as well. Tropical Cyclone Gabrielle forms in the Coral Sea, forecast to rapidly intensify before going towards New Zealand, that we were just talking about being drenched. Now, at the moment, it's going to kind of skirt and skim. We'll see if it takes any sort of dive towards the main body of the islands. But as you can see over here, this is forecast for like the 12th and 13th to start to bring the rain to it. It's not going to be a super intense windstorm, but it's, again, the water. It's not necessarily the wind. We know water is the number one bringer of disaster when it comes to the weather-related events across the globe. North America could be hit again. Europe's snow blocks roads, traps trains, kills at least 10 in the Austrian Swiss Alps alone. Yeah, we had some records falling, and there was mention down here of some temperatures that are really pretty darn cold. 0 degrees Newburgh. This is in Hudson Valley. Hudson Valley is a beautiful area too if you haven't gone through it. And when you think about New York, so often we start thinking just automatically about New York City, but I've viewed New York City many times crossing the Tappan Zee Bridge from above. And when you go through Sleepy Hollow and all these other areas and you start heading upstate, it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. It's very historic, and it also does have a haunting feel that I would have loved to have ventured and gotten Cindy up there to have some fun. But, you had the lowest all-time temperature ever up there in New Hampshire, on Mount Washington, and I transversed that once as a really young kid with my uncle. And my uncle, I just adored him. He was just such a crazy guy. He was so crazy that he let a 10-year-old drive down Mount Washington. That was me. He did have me basically like on his lap, but he let me steer. He let me do the pedals. I was like 10 years old, and my cousin was just curled up in a ball and bawling. She was terrified. She was like, no. Yeah. Just crazy records we see as we see more dead fish here. The extreme weather caused a power outage. This was in a fish farm. The generator failed, and of course, all the fish died. This is so sad, but I mean, this is what we have going on everywhere. 95% of its stock was lost. This is up in New Brunswick. Again, everything and anything that can affect us as far as food and as far as keeping warm and just bottom line surviving, it just seems to be getting more and more difficult, as if it's part of a script. Double peaked magnitude M-class 6.3 solar flare erupts from AR 3213. M-class is definitely no X-class, but all this energy affects us. We are purging, we are cleansing, and one thing, again, we want to share is we've noticed just huge differences between those that we work with on a regular basis. We have many people we work with every 2 weeks, that we see every 2 weeks for energy work, spiritual coaching and guidance. The ones that are out there and they're doing it as self-sufficiently as possible, as far away from the cities, you know what? They're doing fantastic. I mean, they're growing spiritually. Their abilities are getting to be insanely good. And just amazing, as we have several family members that are really pretty much completely self-sufficient, both way in the West and way in the East, doing their own thing, and they're also so far out in nature that they're really not getting blasted like most people are in the cities by all the FIVEG and all, and they're doing so good. I mean, it's amazing. Now to them, they're noticing far more positive change in their life. Now, when we have family members that are right in the middle of the cities, it seems like there's more immune problems, there's more physical issues happening. And I have no doubt that it's because of a couple of things. Number one, achoo! Some people are allergic to certain things, if you know what I mean. Your dogs could have dander. When dogs shed, it can cause allergic reactions. Well, there's other things out there that can do the same sort of thing, but in a worse way, if you know what I mean. I think you guys do. And then just being around all the what we know is negative signals, wavelengths, frequencies that are literally going through our bodies all day long if we are in an urban area.
Mm-hmm. I want to try to give an analogy of these energies that people are going through. If you're out in the country, it's going to be a very smooth type of transition. Nylons come to mind. Like, you just put them on and say there's nothing going to snag or there's nothing going to catch on them, so they just go on easily. But say you try to put nylons on in the middle of a thorn bush, that's not going to go well. And that's how our energy gets caught up on these EMFs, on these other things that are going on. Just every little abnormality is going to catch while you're trying to go up in vibration, while you are in a place where you're really evolving into these abilities. If you're trying to do this in the middle of a thorn bush, it's just not going to work. And that's the analogy of being in the city versus being out away from all of these EMFs. And that's why Mother Nature is so good for us to go be out in the middle of nowhere. So it allows these energies to naturally evolve the way that they're intended to and not get caught and snagged.
You see this is an aerial view of the area of Lagash. And for those that have read your Sumerian text, you're going to be familiar with that. These, you could see, look at this patterns. Now, this is not nature. No. This is what man made. Now, this was an area that was thriving, that was probably actually very green. Back 2000, 3000 BC, maybe, somewhat later. We've found all sorts of remnants. We know this was a city, and it was, one that was very, very habitable, very, very friendly to life. It's in a barren desert now, and you would probably think, again, if we just look at our surroundings and we think, there's no way people could have, survived in a certain area. Well, the climate changes really fast. And even with the natural cycles that we go through, again, the augmentation, the fact that, there are beings around us all the time that have tremendous technology. They can make areas blossom, and they can make areas be uninhabitable. Again, look at these lines. This shows subsurface architectural features of Lagash. I just want to bring this up real quick just to show you guys. When you, again, come on, there's Google Earth here. Are we still recording? Yeah, we're still recording. Yeah, they don't want me showing you guys this stuff. Because, again, our history is the real history is something they want to cover up. So we know when we had the Ice Age, the ocean was 200-300 feet, lower than it is. And, that was my bookmark that they did away with here. But we can see straight lines in many places. Let me think. It was off the coast of Costa Rica pretty much. Okay, so I had this place bookmarked, and they're not going to let me go to it. But you can see some of the ridges and features. Okay, Cocos Islands. This is an interesting area. Do you pick up? There it is. Look at those lines. Look at those lines. That's like runways. Don't you think? I mean, when do you see perfectly straight lines?
It kind of looks like a runway to me. I mean, if we were up in the sky looking down, runways have all these different straightaways so that entities can take off. It's very curious.
Yeah, I mean, is there a control tower there? I don't know. This is again part of, and this has been bookmarked for like 3 years, but that they blocked that one bookmark. Again, they don't want us knowing this. They don't want us knowing just how often they really are out in plain view. As you see this, you don't really see anything until they slow this down. And you can see there's the ship. And it goes by so damn fast. Doncaster Airport, UK. And again, they want everybody, thinking that God is a man in the cloud, that, the earth is flat, there's no other life out there, all extraterrestrial, interdimensional beings are aliens, or vice versa, not aliens, they're demons and angels. No. Again, all the indigenous tribes that have been so persecuted will tell you, our ancestors come from those stars over there. Yeah, those. That's where we come from originally. Our ancestors came from there. Our great teachers came from there. All these tribes all over the world have these stories. So again, we've never been alone. Never, never, never. Yeah, and this is what we were talking about, that seafood processing plant destroyed. Oh, no, this is a different one. This one is a blaze. Yeah, and by the way, it's in the same area in Canada. So the weather got one, and this one goes up in flames. Nothing to see there. Don't worry, it's all coincidence. Now, I don't know when this thing was made. It doesn't look very, very old, but it is very, very curious. And, here you see, again, Antarctica, without the, look at it, it's got horses on Antarctica. What are those things? And it also has North America attached to Russia, basically up there in Siberia. And it says Tartaria, Tartaria. Isn't this cool? Look at this. Oh, nature is amazing. Nature is amazing. And everything that's hidden right in front of our faces is amazing if we open up our eyes.
Yes, and patterns are amazing. Conductivity is amazing. And when you start getting into sound healing, you start understanding conductivity, and this is something that we do when we work on people. I always say drink lots of water because this is going to make you more conductive. But obviously, this is something that was very well known that's been translated into computers because this information is powerful.
I mean, come on. Do you think this is a coincidence that our technology is utilizing the same patterns that we find, in our architecture that again is from nature? This is the as above so below, as within so without. When we again, thank you Dr. Emoto, thank you so much for your work with water and showing us how when we say something Om Shanti, we're calling in Om, the sound of the universe, and we're calling for Shanti, which is peace. So when we resonate that, there's multiple things we're doing. We're sending a signal down to every single cell in our body that, Om again is the sound that is creation. And when we're saying Shanti, we're putting the intention for peace out there that every cell in our body hears. This is why we do the mantras. Can you do it once and be done with it? Because again, there are parts that are put into the Abrahamic tradition, the mainstream tradition, that are absolutely purposeful. When you see the quote that says, "Don't be like the heathens and pray with vain repetitions," what they're saying to you is don't do mantras repeatedly because you're going to escape our control grid.
Well, you're going to be connecting yourself from internally to externally with the 108. That's very, very purposeful. That has to do with our internal mechanism and the external mechanism and connecting us with the all. And they definitely don't want that.
No, absolutely not. So, it's we could see right through their BS. They want you to just, pray in a generic way, one and done. No, I mean, did Michael Jordan or, whoever's the good basketball player out there today, did they just practice one shot and they got so good? If you pick up a guitar, you have to do typically tens of thousands of repetitions to get good at something. You just don't get good at something once. And it's the same thing with doing the mantras and calling in a specific frequency. So when we do mantras, again, the other part of this is the magical component, or what we view as magic, which is just science that's not fully understood by the masses, is that we are plugging into a stream that so many, countless people, hundreds of millions, billions of people have plugged into before. This is an energy current. They understand this big time. This is why they give us our belief systems. They give us our belief systems so we plug into their energy current, and thus we are empowering them. Again, when you say, "Not my will be done," and again, you can say that to an extent if you want to try to connect to the higher self, but be specific. And so meditate. Again, who is the higher self? Well, the higher self is that which is always. So that's that part of us that's beyond the single incarnation, the part that's eternal, the part that is of source, and in fact is source. It is a fractal of source. We are all fractals of source. God lies within us. And this is also why in the Abrahamic tradition, when will the end come? If you look to the book of Revelation, it's when man sits in the throne of God saying he is God. Why is that? Well, because we can't control you anymore when you realize God's in you.
We're all gods in training. We're all getting this information. We all have the ability to utilize this information and expand on this information and learn and grow. Our natural way is expansion. That's what we are supposed to do. So that's why we come here and have experiences, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but the one thing it always brings is expansion, because that's the natural way of things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And check this little guy out. I meant to do that. Watch this. Whee! Oh man, that's fun.
And that's just pure discovery. And I don't know about you guys, but it sure seems like our pets are really doing some serious expansion right along with us.
Absolutely. You know, we have a lot more to share with you guys, and we hope that you will join us over on Heartsome, because we're going to really go deep in certain ways for tools to go deeper. And please do keep coming here to EEARTS, as well as, you know, we're going to go, again, more into the mysteries. There's absolutely no reason for us not to totally separate the channels at this point in time. I just do the earth changes on EEARTS because of the fact that, you know, the connection to what's going on now, to what happens all the time, like in Tartaria. You know, this is Evolutionary. Again, Evolutionary, we probably have done 3,000 or 4,000 videos. I think they're only showing 11 or 1,200 because YouTube has removed so many over the years. They went through this period where they really just were plucking videos off it left and right constantly. But again, the earth changes we're going through now, we've gone through them before, time and time and time again. Yes, and are they actually caused by things in the sky like this? Well, you know, there's a lot more at play here than they will ever tell you, but you can discover it. Again, open up your mind, open up your pineal gland, let the light in through the crown chakra, and all will be revealed.
Indeed.
As always, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.